Hello, you're listening to the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. My name is Reichen Young, a student from the Acting Company for Excellence and host of the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. Today we are talking to Miss Lauren Boykin. Miss Lauren is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for NTPA. She has led NTPA's marketing strategy and execution for years, successfully directing the rebranding of the North Texas Performing Arts name. She also directed critical rollouts for NTPA, including the Starcatchers, Fairview, Frisco, Southlake, and Dallas facilities. Miss Lauren has driven the development of messaging for NTPA launches including Upstart, Collegiate Pursuits, the Community Theater, and the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. Through Miss Lauren's efforts, NTPA has become a well-known and respected brand across North Texas. Welcome, Miss Lauren!
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here.
We are so excited to have you on the podcast. Okay, so just to start off, it is so nice to finally chat with you on the podcast. For those who may not know, Miss Lauren helped Latham and I launch the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. As NTPA students, we had the idea for the podcast, but we needed the support of the organization. You and Miss Hannah Brewer were our champions and gave us the podcast and gave our podcast a chance. And we continue to work with you every single month to release the current episode. Latham and I really appreciate you, and I really want to thank you for believing in us and really supporting us throughout the entire way.
Oh, you're so welcome. I have to tell you guys, I was so excited when Hannah brought me your idea and said, I've got these students, they want to do this podcast. I think it could be a really cool educational opportunity, might have some marketing connections and potential. Ooh. And I said, oh my gosh, little did she know that I had a little bit of a background in radio, had worked as a DJ in my college years, and later a station manager, and it just, audio holds such a special place in my heart. I was like, yes, we have to do this. It was, just a little bit of a personal story for me. My grandfather was an AM radio host for 40 years in Oklahoma City. Gosh. And so getting to do radio was a really cool connection point that I had with him. And he would listen to my episodes, and he would send me email feedback every week and call in to my radio station and request songs. And it was just a great sentimental thing to me. So it's great to kind of come full circle and to work with you guys in the little piece that I do with you, and to just kind of be able to inspire you and hopefully guide you to being the next great communicators and storytellers and podcasters. So thank you for the opportunity and for bringing this to NTPA.
Oh, thank you. Well, we cannot appreciate you enough. And come on, you're pushing forward the legacy of your family. It's huge. Okay. So to start off, you're Vice President of Sales and Marketing for NTPA. Tell us more about your position and what you do for the whole organization.
Sure, yeah. So as Vice President, I lead both our marketing and our sales teams here at NTPA. Most of your listeners probably know we have 5 physical locations. We have 10 theater troupes at NTPA. So we have a lot of things that are happening in NTPA, a lot to talk about, to tell people about, to market. And my marketing team, we have 5 members now in our marketing team. We're continuing to grow our office staff to support the growth of the organization. And then on the sales side, my sales teams that I lead are the box office ticketing, our costume closet, which does costume rentals, and then also our NTPA store, show shirts, that kind of thing. So I touch a lot of pieces of the organization. It's a lot of fun, work with a lot of great people. And that's the best part of the job, is working with artists and creative people who all have a passion about bringing the performing arts to youth in North Texas. Everyone who works here knows what a positive impact that can have. Most of us because it had a positive impact on our lives when we were kids.
Absolutely.
So getting to share that with today's youth is just a dream come true.
Oh my goodness. So if any of y'all ever wondered, she literally does everything for everybody. Oh my gosh. So we already mentioned the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast and how you helped us get it up and running. The podcast is one of many marketing tools for NTPA. What other methods do you use to market the youth theater brand, and why is marketing so important?
Yeah, great question. So in terms of what ways that we market our programs and activities in the organization, we use a lot of different methods for that. Obviously, our website is a really big hub of information where we always want to point people. Social media plays a really big part of our marketing strategy. We do a lot of email marketing. Email's been a really big piece for us, especially to engage people who already are kind of in our marketing funnel. They've already taken a class or come to see a show. That's a great way for us to continue to connect with them and let them know about upcoming programs. We also do a lot of external things like advertising and media sponsorships. things where we're going out to sponsor events like performing at the Plano Balloon Festival or having a booth at a summer camp fair. Any way that we can kind of get out in the community and let people know about what we're doing, we're trying to reach out and touch families in the North Texas area. In terms of why marketing is important, it kind of, for NTPA, everything comes back to our mission. And our mission is to develop the character of youth through performing arts and family entertainment. And so in order to do that, we really have a goal of providing as many opportunities as possible for youth in North Texas, so that anyone who wants to take the stage or be in film now, because we have a great film program.
Yes.
Anyone who wants to participate in those kinds of programs, we want them to have the opportunity to do so. And so by marketing, we can, be the megaphone to expand that message to more families who don't know about us yet. North Texas is a really big area. There's a lot of families, and so there's always more families to serve.
And so just when marketing, what would you say is your favorite or probably most efficient type of advertising for NTPA?
Yeah, great question. Digital advertising is huge right now. As a nonprofit, we have a limited budget for advertising. So it's a way that we can make our advertising dollars go further, because digital is it's cheap. You can target really efficiently. And so we do a lot of social media advertising, a lot of Google advertising. We have a Google ad grant as a nonprofit, which is really great. We love Google's support there. So that's probably the most effective way that we can reach out to families. And then, like I said, connecting and keeping connected with families that are in our programs right now. And so we do that through all kinds of ways. We've got the TV screens that are in all of our lobbies that are always running information. We've got the playbills, of course, and we put information in those about upcoming programs, and our email advertising as well. So
I'll tell you what, that's what snagged Latham and I. We came to a show with a friend who did it probably 5 years ago, maybe. And we saw in the playbill, like our first show was Frog and Toad Kids, which is amazing. And we saw it in the playbill and we're like, oh, you know what? Let's try it. And ever since, we've been a part of the theater. So that really
great.
helps.
Well, I'm glad it worked.
It sure did. I'll tell you that. What is different about marketing NTPA versus marketing another brand such as Nike or Gatorade?
Yeah, great question. There's a few differences. There's a lot of similarities in marketing, no matter what you're marketing. You want to know your target audience. You want to know what's special or unique about your organization. But something that's, a couple of differences about North Texas Performing Arts versus like a Gatorade, for instance. One is kind of product marketing versus service marketing. So if you're marketing is focused on selling a product, you're really focused on what that item is, what makes it different or unique or special, affordable or elite, what is going to make someone want to purchase that and take it home. At NTPA, we're obviously a service-based organization, so we're really focused on the experience, how you're going to feel when you're here, what you're going to learn and take with you. And so that's just kind of a little different in kind of how you shape your message and how you approach your audience. And another, big thing that's special about NTPA is we're selling an experience, we're marketing a service, but we're really looking at it's not just come to an event. It's not come to this one thing, see this one show, have a great time. But it's really a bigger message. It's a longer term journey that we hope most of our families will come in and take the things that they learn and take with them into the future. So what we're marketing is really a lifelong impact that you can have if you come to NTPA. Whether you decide to stay in the arts or decide to go into any other field, you can take the things that you learn here, and they will make you a better human being. They will help you bring more positivity into the world, and that is really the heart of NTPA, and that's the story that we're trying to tell.
Amazing. And theater really is just the hub of creativity and happiness and joy. I really do love it. And so bouncing back to kind of like the digital thing, during your career, you've seen the rise of social media. So how important is social media and how has it impacted the marketing for NTPA? Yeah,
that's a great question. It's such a fascinating thing to have watched. And I'm an elder millennial. I'm kind of right at the cusp of that age where I remember what it was like growing up without it. And then Facebook really started when I was in high school. And so I started to kind of see the rise of that. And it's been interesting how things have changed and evolved over the last 15, 20 years. A lot. It is, I think there are great positive things about it, and of course there are great negative things about it too, that, everybody's always talking about in the media. For us at NTPA, for our marketing, it's a great way for us to kind of hone in and communicate with our target audience. Social media has been a really great way to bring together communities of people who are passionate about specific things and bring them into one space. And so it's been a great way for us to kind of reach people that way. It's also, it's a great connector. It's something that I think has been so positive in especially, during the COVID time, which was a really interesting time for businesses and for us as an entertainment and performance and educational venue. That was kind of crazy, but the social media, the digital platforms were a way for us to stay connected with our students when everyone was in lockdown, which I think was, a positive thing. It was also a really great way for us to continue to engage with, family members who may not live in the DFW area. And so we were doing a lot of streaming back then, a lot of digital kind of things.
Yes.
But yeah, I remember we would have, grandparents that were, dialing in to watch our performances that lived in like Germany or crazy places across the country. So, it's been a really cool connection point. I definitely think that it's a great way for us to connect as a community at NTPA. NTPA is a very family type atmosphere. When you come here, you become part of our family. And I love every time we post pictures of students and performances, we always start to get comments from people who have been in other shows with them who are so excited to continue to see them succeed and perform. And we just get floods of comments that are encouraging our students. And that's one of the really positive, wonderful things that I love about it.
Social media and just the internet in general can really be used to change the world in many different aspects. And while a lot of people downplay it and say, like it fries your mind or whatever, it really is a way to connect with people. Because before the internet, literally you would contact people via like letters and they would take forever. And if you were mailing something across the ocean, goodness gracious, good luck. But I know kind of going back to the digital, like zooming in from like Russia or Germany or any of that, I remember talking with a lot of people and they had said that, yes, their grandparents who had never been able to come to shows before because either they lived too far away or certain like other like health reasons, they were able to like be in bed and like watch their grandchildren or children or whatever like really experience something beautiful. And do you know who came up with the idea of zooming in and coming in through all that? Yeah, definitely. So it was, it was a really interesting time when kind of the world shut down.
Yes. We all discovered Zoom, and our senior staff, we were on Zoom every single day for multiple hours when that shutdown happened, talking about what do we do, how do we continue to support and engage our families, because we knew that personal connection is so important in life, in theater, but just in life in general. We are human beings that are made to connect with other people. And so we said, what do we do to continue to connect while we are physically unable to do so? And so, it was really a team effort of coming together and saying, okay, what can we do that's not in a physical space? And so we did a lot of online classes, and we started at the very beginning with online production. So we did a few online productions that were solely on Zoom. Everyone rehearsed at home. They did the performances on Zoom. The audiences streamed in.
Wow.
And it was really neat to see. One of the first ones that I watched was actually a Shakespeare production by some of our teens. And it was fascinating the way that they used technology to bring a new element to production that I had not seen before. And we're using even things like, so they would turn on their camera when they came on stage and then turn it off when they went off stage. But there was even an element of they were using the chat as their asides. So when they did an aside, they were doing it in the chat box so you could kind of see the chats running. And
that's so amazing.
Yeah, it was really fascinating. But I kudos to our CEO, Daryl, who really championed us continuing to innovate and develop ideas. Greg McKnight, as our technical director, was a huge support in figuring out just the technology side of how do we stream shows when we did come back to stage, but we couldn't have full audiences because we were all social distancing, and Even just like down to what cameras do we use and how do we, get the sound and all of that into our programs and make that accessible. So it was a fascinating time, and I think we learned a lot. And it's been great to see that what we were able to do through that time and how we were able to continue to support and grow our organization.
Yes, and I really thank you so much for that. You lit the fires and kept the sparks the entire time throughout the pandemic, and we truly appreciate that. So you helped direct the rollouts of new programs and facilities at NTPA. Can you give us a sneak peek into any new exciting programs or locations on the horizon for this youth theater?
Great question. I can't tell you very much, but I can tell you a few things. I can tell you that our NTPA Studios program, which I know you've had Greg on, you've talked about studios a couple of times on this podcast. We're continuing to look at how we grow and expand that program. We are recording today in the new sound studio for studios, which is really exciting. We're going to continue to build out this space. We're going to launch very soon. It hasn't been announced yet, but I think I can tell you we're going to launch our film festival, our first youth film festival, which is going to be an annual activity. So we're really excited about that. So make sure you check the website. It probably will be live by the time this goes out, I'm guessing. So check the website and get more information. We are always, NTPA is very growth minded. We're very growth oriented because, like I said, we want to provide as many opportunities for kids to take the stage as possible. So we are already looking, our governing board is looking at what our 6th location is going to be. We are going to have a 6th location. When that's going to be, I'm not sure. Where that's going to be, I'm not sure. We have a couple of different cities that we're looking at and kind of doing some research and getting information. But we definitely want to continue to expand, continue to provide more opportunities for more kids in DFW.
Could it possibly spread outside of North Texas?
It could. We might need to rebrand our name again if we went outside North Texas.
So kind of bouncing off of that, you were essential in the rebranding of North Texas Performing Arts name. Tell us more about the process and why the rebranding was necessary for the organization. Yeah,
that was one of the things when I very first started working at NTPA. That was one of the very first things that I was tasked with. That I came in and they had kind of already decided that they were going to do the rebrand. They had already selected the name and had started working with a branding agency to kind of help develop what that new brand was going to look like. So I came in and my job was really to take that and figure out how to roll that out and how to make that transition as seamless as possible, because it is a challenge. We had been Plano Children's Theater for over 2 decades, and so after nearly 25 years, changing your name is a really big thing. But we really felt like the organization felt like that was important in order to support the growth that they wanted to see in the organization. So they were just getting ready to open Fairview. That location opened about a month after I started in my job, and we already had the Frisco troupe that was starting to rent out space and do some productions there. And so they saw, our board of directors saw the growth potential in the organization, and they wanted to rebrand to have a name that connected all of our locations in order to build that brand awareness and to help support growth to future cities in the area. And I think that was a really smart move. I think, it always takes a little bit of time for those kinds of things to happen, especially after you've had the same name for 20 plus years.
Exactly. It's risky.
But I think most everybody now knows North Texas Performing Arts as North Texas Performing Arts, and I find I take a lot of success and pride in that we've been able to do that. And I think, our 5th location out in Southlake, which is our most recent, has been the quickest grown new location that we've had. And I think the NTPA name has helped with that, because we bring over 30 years now of experience to the performing arts educational field. And so even though we didn't have a program out there, I think that there are people that were already kind of aware of what we were doing, and that helped us to just grow that much faster. Mm-hmm.
And finally, you're Vice President of Sales and Marketing for NTPA, but were you ever a theater kid yourself?
Oh my gosh, yes, I was. I did theater in high school and college. I was a dancer first, and then really got into theater. Actually started as a theater major in college, and then moved into theater education, which was definitely not my forte, and then found electronic media production, which was kind of where I ended up. But when I first came to NTPA, I actually was not looking for a job at the time, but I saw a job posting come up for this position, and I said, oh my gosh, that is the dream, to be able to connect my marketing experience and skills with my love for theater. how could I do anything else? I have to come here and I have to work here. And that's what I told them. And luckily they thought the same thing. So they brought me on.
And now you're here supporting the podcast, and we love it. And now, Miss Lauren, it's time for the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast, 5 quick questions, where you answer every question quickly and without explanation. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, I am so ready. This is my favorite part of the podcast.
What was the name of the first show you ever performed?
I was 3 years old. It was no explanation. It was called Down at the Creek Bank.
What is your favorite show?
My favorite show, so hard, but I think I'm going to say Next to Normal.
What is your favorite role that you've played?
My favorite role that I've ever played was actually ensemble in a show of a one-act production of Wit.
Ooh, what is your dream role?
My dream role is to be a villain, any villain. I would be terrible at it, but I would love to be a villain.
I'm sure you'd be amazing. And what is your favorite candy?
All candy, except for candy corn. Who loves that?
I love candy corn.
Sour gummy worms. I'll say that.
Thank you so much, Miss Lauren, for talking with us on the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. And until next time, I'm Reichen Young. Remember, you always have a winning hand with an ace up your sleeve. The Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast is brought to you by the students of the Acting Company for Excellence at North Texas Performing Arts. This podcast was created by Reichen Young, with sound design and editing by Latham Young. NTPA is a nonprofit organization dedicated to developing the character of youth through quality performing arts education and family entertainment. Learn more about upcoming programs and events at ntpa.org.